Pete in Sherman Oaks, California. Hey, Pete, what's up?
Hi, I just wanted to respond to your comments on or statements about Columbus, and it brought to mind an analogy that we kept Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame because he bet on baseball. But all the atrocities that Columbus committed wasn't enough to keep him from being on the level of American hero that he's one of the few that we make a holiday for.
Right. Excellent point. In fact, let me just excellent point. In fact, let me just revisit this for people who might have just joined us in the last hour of our program. Today is Columbus Day. It's and here in Washington D.C. the city's just shut down. I mean, there's nobody out. I mean, tonight will probably be a party night. I don't know, but Columbus was the first illegal immigrant to North America. Well, assuming that you don't count Leif Erikson, because Leif Erikson actually didn't stay here and colonize. I think he was 500, 600, maybe 800 years before Columbus. But in any case, that the Norwegians hit the northern part of North America. But they went away. They didn't stay. But when Columbus and this is Miguel Cuneo was a literate member of Columbus's staff, of his whatever you call it on a ship, crew, I guess. And he kept a diary. And here's from his diary, and this is not all that difficult to find. I'm reading it. I compiled this in my book, The Last Hours of Ancient Sunlight. So that's where I'm reading this from, but you can find it in other sources, I'm sure. Cuneo wrote, this is him. This was written in like 1500. He wrote, when our caravels were to leave for Spain, we gathered, they were leaving Haiti, Hispaniola, Haiti and the Dominican Republic for the first time to go back to Spain. We gathered 1,600 male and female persons of those Indians. This is the Taino Indians who lived on the Arawak Indians who lived in the island. We gathered these together, 1,600 male and female persons of these Indians, and these we embarked in our caravels on February 17th, 1495. For those who remained, we let it be known to the Spaniards who manned the island's fort that anyone who wanted to take some of them, that is the Indians as slaves, to the amount desired, they could do so, which was done. Cuneo further notes that he himself took a beautiful teenage Carib girl as his personal slave, a gift from Columbus himself, but when he attempted to have sex with her, she, quote, this is his writing, she resisted with all her strength, close quote, and so then he goes on to say he, quote, thrashed her mercilessly and raped her, end quote. Now, Columbus once referred to the Tainos as cannibals, but actually the history shows that it was anything but. It was pretty idyllic life that they had there. In 1493, he wrote to the Spanish monarchs, it is possible in the name of the Holy Trinity to sell all the slaves which are possible here to sell. Here there are so many of these slaves, and also Brazil wood, and although they are living things, they are as good as gold. He also used the Taino as sex slaves as a common reward for his crew members, to present them with local women to rape. As he began exporting the Taino as slaves to other parts of the world, the sex slave trade became a very important part of his business. In fact, it was the principal core of the profitability of Columbus's life. He wrote to a friend in 1500, and this is a quote from Christopher Columbus himself, 100 castellanos, it's a Spanish coin, are easily obtained for these women. Apparently the Carib Indian women were quite attractive, are as easily obtained for these women as for a farm, and it is very generally, and there are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls. Those from ages 9 to 10 years old are now in greatest demand. End of quote from Christopher Columbus. The Taino, however, did not like being slaves or sex slaves, and so Pedro de Cordoba wrote to King Ferdinand in 1517. Now this was 20 years after Columbus arrived. Wrote there from Hispaniola. He said, as a result of the sufferings and hard labor they endured, the Indians choose and have chosen suicide. Occasionally 100 have committed mass suicide. The women, exhausted by labor, have shunned conception and childbirth. Many, when pregnant, have taken something to abort and have aborted. Others have, after delivery, have killed their children with their own hands so as not to leave them in such oppressive slavery. Now, when Columbus arrived, the census that his brother Bartholomew did of the number of Indians on the island, Hispaniola, what we call Haiti and the Dominican Republic now, was 1.5 to 3 million people. There's 16 million people who live there now. By 1496, according to Bartholomew, it was down to 1.1 million. By 1516, the indigenous population was down to 12,000, and according to Las Casas, another Spaniard who was there, by 1542, there were fewer than 200 natives alive. By 1555, every single one was dead. Now, some had escaped the island, and the bloodlines continue through Florida and whatnot, but every single one on the island was dead. And this was, this is the legacy of the first illegal alien to this country, a genocidal legacy. I'll just leave it at that. Larry, in Chino, California. Hey, Larry, what's up?
Perhaps I'm showing my ignorance, but why do American Indians call themselves Indians? Isn't that a misnomer? Didn't Columbus think he was on the tip of India?
Yeah, they don't call themselves Indians. In fact, every tribe, the word that they had, the name of their tribe, the word for themselves was the same. Yeah, are you there? Apparently, Larry can't hear me. But yes, Larry, in answer to your question, every tribe has the word in their language for themselves is the word for people. I mean, it's the same thing as Adam, the word for man in Hebrew. I mean, it's just the way it is.